Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest installment of Roadshows and Stuff, everyone's favorite roadshow podcast.
Might be the only roadshow podcast.
I have a feeling if anyone else were to start their own, it would immediately surpass our listener numbers by episode 1.5. No, I'm kidding. We love our listeners. Frank, this is it's pretty exciting. Number one, how was your Christmas?
It was good, Doug. It was good.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Got everything I
wanted.
Trying
to deceive people. Still only early November. Yeah. This is a special episode, more special than all the other times I've said this is a special episode, because this is the season finale.
Yes.
All right. Emily, cue the fake applause, please. Thank you. Can she do audio?
I think so.
Okay. If
not, just be people clapping.
And what have we decided to do? We're really creative now. We're free form, free flow.
So this is the season finale of season 2.
Yes.
And today we're going to talk about the title of today's podcast is Never in a Million Years. So different types of tours that you didn't think would have a road show, different companies that you wouldn't ever. So we just want to provide some examples to kind of spark the
creative juices.
That's right.
Get them flowing.
That's
I know.
right.
Like if you got a product and you're like, mobile, it'll never work for mobile or with mobile ever in a million years. Well, that's what this episode's all about. Mm-hmm. So Frank, let's kick it off. What do you want to start with?
Yeah, let's keep it in Canada. Let's keep it in Canada right now. We're going to go with Lepage, which is Lepage. And it's an adhesive. It's an adhesive company. Caulking. And
caulking.
So you would never think that they would just have a caulking tour.
No.
But it was a very, very successful tour for the last. Just got off the road, I think last year, but I was on the road for 3 or 4 years and went to.
What would they do? What did they do on the program?
Yeah, so they went.
Where would they go? What would they do?
Yeah, so they went to your Home Depots, your Lowe's, your building supply stores, and they would do demonstrations on why their products are better than the others. So demonstrations such as putting the caulking in a brick of ice and then taking smashing the ice and then caulking something, or having little caulking competitions. But yeah, so so this was a good product demonstration tour that not only was consumer facing, but it was more so like your do-it-yourselfers, your pro contractors and things like that. So
and actually it made a lot of sense. It grabbed a lot of people that were just headed into the big box, retail outlet to buy something. When's the last time you've been in a store? Almost every time I've been to a store like that, if I don't know what I'm buying specifically, you look at like the hundreds of different options of like different things you can buy. Like caulk is a perfect example. It's like 50 tubes are all different brands.
Exactly.
Well, you're fresh off having seen and experienced, a hands-on demo of the advantages of that particular brand. That may stick with you, no pun intended. And that may be the deciding factor for the brand that you now become loyal to, moving forward. Exactly. Is something as simple as that. Happens all the time. You see a different selection of things, and that could be the great differentiator. Is the point I'm trying to make.
That's
here.
True.
Let's move down the list here. Let's pretend we have a list. Actually, we do have a list. Batesville Casket Company.
Yes.
The largest casket manufacturer.
Something you're very familiar with, right?
I am. Yeah, that's wasn't my first program here, but that was one of the early programs that I managed.
Nice. So what did they do?
And it's crazy. You think about the funeral industry, right? Now they use that program to specifically address issues that funeral home owners and managers were facing at the time, which was how to continue generating revenue when people were no longer having viewings. Cremation had increased in popularity tenfold in the prior 10, 15 years. And obviously you don't do a viewing with it, and that's where you make money. You sell a casket, you make a pretty decent profit or markup on that. You charge for the meeting space for that particular day, possibly catering. You're losing all that to a cremation, right? They would just send out a notification, what have you, or take out a a listing in the paper. But this was showing funeral directors, well, you can still do a viewing. Here's our selection of urns. We can consult with you directly on how you can still have a room and lease a room for the day. You can still, you can still, and it wasn't, I'm trying to think right now. I didn't give this any thought prior to the podcast. My apologies. But it wasn't just on generating revenue for that. There was the increased size of Americans in general, the body mass index. So they introduced a new line of caskets, which were double wides, things like that.
And what did they do? They didn't have like, did they have like a full out casket in the trailer?
No, they would have what they call end caps. So they'd have like the last third sticking out of a slat wall to show you what it was. And then we had one full size display on the floor showing the interior and the different accessories. Again, more areas where you could generate revenue for a funeral homeowner.
That's
unique. And then going from woods, traditional wood species, which are incredibly expensive, to basically laminate. And that's what a lot of people did, because their approach was, well, if they're just in a viewing for 1 or 2 days and then they're buried, might as well save $5,000 on the casket and go with like a laminate, whatever. So yeah, incredibly successful program, and something that we offered continuing education
nice
as well. So it would satisfy, for a lot of these homeowners, not having to travel to a city to a conference to get continuing education.
Yeah, so it's a good way to kind of utilize the trailer for not only a product demonstration, but also, like you mentioned, continuing education for
much like going to an ATM machine.
That's right.
Oh, wait a minute. What does that mean? What am I getting at, Frank? What am I getting
a company called Diebold, which which builds ATM machines, right?
They do.
Imagine having a trailer filled with ATM machines. So it actually,
which I often do. I often think of that.
But obviously the ATM machines were empty. But the challenge with that one actually in particular was that the ATM machines actually weigh quite a bit. So it was a pretty robust trailer, but yeah, so the trailer would go to banks and large facilities that would have ATMs and
end users, and would show the advantages of the machine, the security, the safety, the digital robustness, the mechanical operation. It's a huge industry, something you'd never think of. And we had a tour for it. Another one, aviation. We've believe it or not, we've done quite a bit of aviation stuff in the past, but Cirrus is a airplane manufacturer out of Wisconsin. Anyway.
A state. They're out of one of those states.
Yes. Yeah. But they have a tremendously advanced airplane that they created, which had a parachute system, which they're promoting. And again, it's another industry. There's a whole trade show support system that supports that industry specifically. And this wasn't commercial, this is private aviation, but it had a completely digital cockpit, something typically not seen in the private aviation world. And we took an entire fuselage and put it in the trailer, in the body of the trailer. So pilots, other people in the industry in general could just interact with the airframe, see the engine, see the avionics, see the emergency chute system. And it was cutting edge for the time.
So you mentioned emergency chute?
Yeah, I forget what it's called, TAPS, or I think it's called CAPS. It's an acronym for something. Yeah, but it was the first light aircraft to offer that. It's kind of an emergency backup. So engine failure, bad weather, you lose control of the aircraft, you can pull that system, and it simulates being dropped when you hit the ground from being dropped at like 10 feet in the air. That's the impact rate. And that's the type of impact you would feel. Absolutely. Wow. It's better than feeling the 25,000 foot drop into the ground is the alternative. And it's been deployed now, I think, a couple hundred times successfully.
Oh, great.
Saved hundreds of lives as a result. Fantastic technology. It's becoming more commonplace to have glass cockpits now in private airplanes, but totally cutting edge company.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't think that would have its own roadshow.
Or even having a solution like putting it in the trailer, the entire plane without the wings.
Interesting.
What else do we have? Oh,
So, yeah.
AstraZeneca.
AstraZeneca, might have heard of them recently.
Pharmaceutical. Yeah.
Past couple of
Yeah.
years.
That was
I'm
for
not-
medication specifically.
Okay.
Did you want to take this or
No,
did
no, this was before my time
yeah.
at MRA. So
BYT. Oops. Must be
yeah,
a Russian listener calling
calling
in with
in.
more praise. They want to go live.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, no. That's what that was, just for healthcare professionals to show them or mimic for them what it was like to have a heart attack. So you got into we had like 6 or 7 booths. It was like a recumbent bicycle. You were sitting down, you're pedaling in front of you, and you wore a bladder vest, and you were watching a monitor in front of you, like a big screen TV, and you would pedal and you'd go down a path. But then you would see the symptoms and the signs of an onset heart attack, or
Wow.
early warning signs of a heart attack about to take place. The vision would narrow, it would start to blacken out. The bladder on the chest would get incredibly tight, and the
Wow.
bike itself would become incredibly difficult to pedal, to the point that like you couldn't breathe. You had to hit an emergency button, would stop it. And then the bladder would deflate, the screen would go back to normal. Then you could just pedal on the bike normally.
Interesting.
But that helped. I think it was mostly nurses, emergency first responders, things like that. When people were describing their symptoms, that could be clearly identified as them having had a particular heart event,
Wow.
for which this medication was applicable as as a solution or as a treatment. And we did that a little bit for the general public too, because that was at the time where you could start asking your healthcare provider or physician you could start to recommend a specific prescription medication that they could then write for you, which has now blossomed into a multi-trillion-dollar industry. But yeah, it was a really cool program, the AstraZeneca tour. And its methodology was cool,
Mhm.
showing people what it's like, instead of just going in and being like, this way our drug's amazing and this is what it does. So it was an experience, a true experience. I remember it to this day in detail.
Oh, great.
And it was
Nice.
over 3 months ago, I think. No, I'm kidding. That was at
On
least
to the
10
next.
years ago. Yes.
Here we are talking about Bluenose II.
Bluenose IV.
So
Yeah.
for all the Canadians out there listening, so my mom and my wife.
The Bluenose is on the Canadian.
The blue is on the Canadian dime. So it
Yes.
is a fishing schooner from the maritime province of Nova Scotia.
Love it.
And it actually used to race against the Boston schooner, which I don't remember the name of it. But it was the fastest schooner in the world. And
That's right.
long and short, we built a small trailer about 27 feet in length. But what happened was that the original Bluenose was sold to a company in the Caribbean. And then
this is a long time ago, right?
Very long. This is probably in the 20s. This was in the 20s.
Okay.
So
aren't we in the 20s now? We're in the 20s.
We're in the 20s, the 1920s. So what happened was that the Canadian government wanted to kind of create more, a sense of culture. So they brought back a Bluenose II, which was an exact replica. So what we did is we created an experience on the interior with the help of the Museum of Maritimes in Nova Scotia.
Because it's important to the history of Canada, right? It was a big deal for Canada at the time to have the fastest racing ship in the world.
Exactly. And this was in celebration with Canada 150, so the 150th anniversary of Canada. So it was just a small little walkthrough experience, and you got to see what the Bluenose was. You had some small artifacts. We had the what's it called?
Steering wheel.
Steering wheel. Steering wheel.
I don't know what it's
schooner.
Yeah, it's called the helm or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I didn't want to misspeak there, so I was hoping that you would.
A lot of naval fans out there too.
So that was a pretty unique experience.
Yeah. We actually, for that program, we got tremendous turnout.
Oh my God, 15,000 people went through it in like one summer.
That was
in
insane.
Canada, which is not, which is great to have, right? So,
and considering how small it was, like dimensionally, it was not that big.
But the cool part, it followed the actual Bluenose II to different ports. So you would have the Bluenose II, in the water, and then beside it was
Yeah, like a museum
small-
piece,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
That's
So,
awesome. That's
yeah.
cool. That was amazing. SFP.
Which I have no idea what that means. Before
That
my
was
time.
specialty fertilizer products or something. That was a fertilizer tour, manure based.
Mhm.
One of our favorite fertilizers. I think I have a hat. No, maybe I don't. That would just go to like farm events, another huge, massive industry
Exactly.
promoting their particular fertilizer,
Mhm.
trade shows, conventions, all farming based, all plant based, growth based, and then the people that specialize in that kind of world. And that was a glass trailer. Would go to farms. It's some of the muddiest events we've ever done. Go to like livestock events, anything to generate interest in that particular community. Tremendously successful as well. And again, show the advantages of using that particular product against all of their competitors. So
Was it hauled by? It was hauled by like 6 horses, right?
it was not. It was not hauled by 6. It was a sport chassis though.
I know.
First time I encountered that. But yeah, tremendously successful. A manure-based fertilizer tour. And it was fantastic. It was really, really good, really well attended, and did really well for our client.
Next on the list,
World Vision.
it's a big one.
So World Vision, fantastic. I think it's a Christian nonprofit. They did a experience in the Congo tour to generate awareness. I forget what the actual name of the program was. And that was totally tech heavy. You'd walk in, you'd experience what life was like in that part of Africa, riding public transit, horrible infrastructure, lack of running water, paved roads, electricity, plumbing.
That was
all
one of
those
the
things.
That was one of the first tours that really sort of utilized the technology part. I think that's
Fully immersive, right?
and I think that was one of the first ones that used the RFID
Yeah, it did.
tags to, you'd walk in with this card,
Yep.
you'd hit the button or swipe the card, and you're now in a bus.
Yeah,
in
it started. We
Tanzania.
had bus seats in Tanzania. You were sitting in a bus seat surrounded by monitors, and a crew had gone out to film all of the content a few months prior. It was fully immersive live video.
It's crazy because
insane.
you see like some of the people in Tanzania like looking at these
exactly
these
they're
GoPros,
like,
and you're
they're like looking at you riding the bus. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you went to a classroom in a village. You saw how difficult it was to get fresh water to your village every day, which is just the life these people live. And then the very last part of the program inside the experience in the trailer, and it's a 53-foot double expandable, you could sponsor someone from the Congo or from Tanzania.
Yeah.
And I think those renewed, and the issue there was, and I always thought this was interesting, it was an actual bio of a child with a barcode. You could then sponsor them directly, and they renewed those every couple of weeks. So if you pulled like a trifold of one of the individual children, you threw it out, that kid isn't gone forever. They would like reissue these into the trailer. So it was always accurate, always documented who was being funded and who wasn't. That was tremendous.
Yeah, and that went to where? To different churches, I believe.
It did. It went to churches, religious-based festivals, fairs, and even a lot of just public events, state fairs, big gatherings like that, fundraisers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
tremendously
obviously World Vision is a pretty big name, right? So they're well
massive,
known across North America.
Very much like Ardbeg wasn't.
That's right.
Were you involved with Ardbeg? Do you want to speak to that?
I wasn't, but I know enough about it. I was actually just in the vehicle the other day, yesterday. So Ardbeg came to us with a particular vehicle, which was a double-decker bus. And their challenge was just to get their name out. They're looking for more awareness.
Zero brand awareness
in the US. But they did have a massive following. They had a huge following. So that RV, double-decker bus, had in the bottom floor, everyone had stools, or it was rolling stools, and you're in an escape room, and you're in the master distiller's office, and you had to figure out all these different clues, and then as soon as you broke through, you turn around and then on the screen there was the master distiller saying, "Congratulations, you know, you broke through." And then the door would open to the upstairs, and upstairs was a beautiful tasting room.
Yeah,
with
massive tasting room
with large screens, full service bar.
Yeah.
Had a washroom up there.
It was awesome.
It was honestly a great experience. The RV is available if anyone's looking for something.
Yeah, they went from zero brand awareness to decent brand awareness. And like you said, they did have kind of a core following in that whole whiskey, scotch, you know,
it was called
underbelly.
the community. So so what happens that particular you know, Ardbeg, I believe, went bankrupt, and then they were bought out, but they had this massive community of email, like an email list of this, you know, hundreds of thousands of people that still kind of followed the whiskey. So
got a lot of free samples.
That's right. Well, thankfully they came here and they gave our staff a free whiskey.
We had a tasting. Yeah, I remember that. That was an interesting afternoon.
It was an interesting, very
Frank, to wrap it up, Epa Sangria.
Epa Sangria. So Epa Sangria was it was in a small trailer. Actually, this trailer.
Oh, there it is.
That's airy.
28-foot glass.
28-foot glass trailer. But that did tastings of their sangria, and they coupled that with yoga. This was primarily in California.
Go figure.
It had a very niche market. It was going to like a very targeted group.
Sure.
So that was pretty successful. Went to different wineries, went to different you know, events, and they showcased, you know, their sangria.
Yeah, and yoga. So that's crazy. Well, that was an interesting list. So that proves beyond all shadows of a doubt, or shadow of a doubt, that you can do anything in mobile, right? Manure-based fertilizer, caskets, and caulk.
Yeah. And like all great campaigns, you definitely need to start planning early, right? So just for, you know, for everyone's education, it takes anywhere from like a month to a year plus to develop you know, a road show. You know, obviously the year plus is for a lot of the educational based tours, but just to keep that in mind.
Building out the experience. It's not easy because you know, how do you get that message out? How do you want to do it? And how do you plan for it? Well, Frank, that was fantastic. And you know, in summary, a fantastic season. Do we have a stuff today?
I don't know, Doug. I think it was your job to get the stuff going here.
God, did we? I was thinking of it too, and I couldn't come up with anything. Have we ever done desserts?
We've done donuts, which is kind of a dessert, right?
Oh, you know what? In the vein of Halloween, what is your favorite candy and why?
Oh,
it can be chocolate, but you have to be hyper specific.
I'm a big coffee crisp fan. Which is a Canadian wafer coffee.
Not to be confused with the Aero bar.
Not to be confused with the Aero bar. No, but actually one time for my birthday, my wife got me like a case of coffee crisps.
Oh my God.
And she had to hide them on me. So I was going through them a little too quickly. How about yourself, Doug?
Speaking of Canadian market, they use a different, I think it's a different manufacturer of Kit Kat in Canada because they use a different chocolate. And, you know, being from the Detroit area, having Ontario just across the river, having been there many times, living there for a few years, Kit Kats are so amazing. And they were the first market to have the big cats, which is like the giant Kit Kat log. It's like eating a Kit Kat burrito. And it is a fantasy. I can eat 28 of those instantly. Like just without even thinking about it. So I'm obsessed with Kit Kats. Absolutely love them.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, Frank. Amazing. So one thing we cannot share though is that we will not be having a surprise holiday / Christmas special. So don't look for that, everyone. Don't be waiting for that.
But a big thank you to every listener out there, and
don't
forget to follow us on our social media.
Yeah, if you're still listening,
if you're still listening, 15 minutes in here.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
God, no one.
and check out our
Yeah.
website, www.gomra.com.
And let me just dangle a little carrot. Season 3. I mean, if you thought
Glorious.
the special effects in Star Wars and all these other films were amazing, wait till you tune in for season 3. That's all I have to
Great.
say. That is all I have to say. So Frank, thank you very much. Excellent
Thank you,
episode.
Doug.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Please check out our social media outlets
I
or
already
what
said
are they
that.
called?
Already said that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course you did. All right,
I
everyone.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for tuning
Bye.
in. We'll see you soon.
Take care.